Hello, it is Victoria from Coastal Themes and I am back with another video, and in this video I'm going to show you super quickly how to implement some SEO practices, best practices on your Framer website. So we're going to be looking at things like alt tags, HTML tags, ARIA labels, and also just looking at the general settings, the title and descriptions of your pages and CMS content. So I'll run through these pretty quickly so you can quickly add these to your site. So I've got my homepage open. This is one of our great new Framer themes called Newport. I will link it in the description below, of course. And I'm going to be clicking through the images on the site and show you where alt tags sit. And alt tags basically allow us to kind of add a description that can be read by HTML to an image. This is also really helpful for accessibility purposes, but we will deep dive into accessibility in a later video. So I'm going to click on this image of this guy here, and we're going to come down and we can see there is a fill of an image. If I click on this image, you can see there is an alt text applied. So what we want to do here is add a descriptive piece of text which helps users, so on the accessibility side, explains what the image is, and also helps us on the Google side, and this helps us rank a little bit higher, knowing that our images have alt text applied to them. So at the moment it's hero image, it's a bit vague. We might want to say brunette male, smiling, with glasses on and arms crossed. So you can kind of go as deep or as not deep into this, but as long as it tells the user, it would tell the user what the image is about, that's perfect. So for another image, you might want to say, if it's a logo, you would say this is the logo of Logo Ipsum, or this is an icon of a laptop with an HTML tag, open tag on it. So you can kind of explain the image in as many or as little words as you'd like, but this just helps us. Knowing that all our images have alt tags applied to them will just help us rank a little bit higher. So that's alt tags. The next I'm going to show you are HTML tags. So you might be familiar with HTML tags. If I click on my heading here, this is my H1. This is heading 1. I want the attention here first and foremost. So I'm going to click on this heading and come down to accessibility, and here we've already applied this on some of our themes. This tag is already H1, whereas if I go to these headings down here, these tags might be a little different. So you can see this is an H5 because it's not as important as an H1. And then we can do that for everything, not just text. So of course we can have P tags, which is paragraph tags for paragraphs, but we can tag entire sections. So the heading, if I double click on this component, and that's also good to note, you can tag components. If I click on the component and come down to accessibility, you can see we have the tag header. So I would apply a header tag to my header and the footer tag to my footer. You can do the same with buttons. So there's nothing in here because it's a component. We'll double click. So you can see these are all my buttons, and when I click on one, I come down to the accessibility tag, and what happens with buttons is a little different, is that it automatically applies an A tag, which is a link tag. So it's not tagging it as button, it's tagging it as a link, so it's clickable. I'll jump back to home, and you can kind of do this for anything. So this section here, there's no tag applied to it right now, but I can add a tag. And I can add a div tag, which is just basically a section, or I can add a section tag. So there's a few options, and you can kind of decide which one you want to use. Div and section are sort of similar, but there's a few others in this list, and you can find detail on which one is best when on the Framer website. So you can take a look through these and decide which one is most relevant. So we've got things like unordered list, ordered lists, navigation, main. So main section might be like if you're looking at a blog page, this whole section this might be your main section, and this might be your article section. So if I come down, I can add the tag article, and that would tag the article for me. So you can decide which kind of frame you apply the tag to, but as long as it encapsulates the content, you're doing the best you can, doing the most you can. So that's a little bit on tags. And then the next thing I'm going to show you are ARIA labels. So ARIA labels are kind of when you're applying a tag to something that doesn't really have any solid definition, right? So let's say we're looking at this star icon here. This is a star icon in a circle. We might add an ARIA label because we can customize kind of essentially what it's tagged as. So it's somewhere where you can't really apply a typical HTML tag. You might want to use an ARIA label just to define it in its own way. And then the next thing we're going to look at are, as expected, site settings. So we've got our site open and we can see the settings icon in the top right hand corner. I will click on this and you can see we have our general settings. So we'll start in general settings, and you can input your site title, a site description, which right now is quite short, but we recommend this is a little bit longer. And then you can jump into each individual page. So we'll go into our home page and then we can see we can apply the title for the home page, although this typically picks up the title of the general site settings title. So you might want to leave your home page. But then what you can do for each individual page is apply a social preview. Similarly, if we hop back to general, we've got site images. So we've got favicons, which we can apply in light theme and dark theme, and it gives you your pixel guidance, social previews, and your Apple Touch icon. So it's important that you have all these images populated, because again, this is just helping us rank a little bit higher. So if we jump into a different page, or jump into the about page settings, we can see that we might want to say about Newport, and then we add our page description. Would pretty much be a summary of about, and this would show up in things like Google search and other search engines. So you can also decide if you want to exclude pages from search or keep them in search. So you can check this box as you wish. Same here, you can apply page image for each individual page. And then finally, we will jump into our CMS. Discard these changes. So I've got my CMS here. This is my blog, and you can see it's the same structure, page settings, but you see here we start using these kind of dynamic tags. So this allows us to decipher what a blog post's kind of SEO settings would be. And so we can see here we have a few CMS variables: title, slug, excerpt, basically the fields you have in your CMS. You can use 2 curly brackets on either side to basically dynamically input this. So when you're adding your page description, you can say, okay, title, so that would say whatever your blog post is, it will pull it straight from your blog. So if my blog post title is how to get 100 followers, this title would then automatically populate with how to get 100 followers, and we guide you through this very easily. So you can kind of add this and dynamically drop in the content so that in every case that someone sees your blog post in a search engine, it is pulling through the correct content in the correct time. And then here you'll see that this is an example of it pulling through one of our blog posts. So this is our blog post title: Be More Yourself, 6 signs you need a boost of vitamin B6, and then dash my framer site, because here I've got my framer site, so we might change this to the title of our site, Newport. Similarly, in the URL, it uses the slug, which is from the CMS, so I would just leave this as is. And same here with the images of your blog posts. you can decide to use a CMS variable. So click choose image, come down to CMS variable and click on image, and that will pull through. If you have multiple different image fields in your CMS content, you can decide which one. So you might want to go into your CMS even. We'll jump in here, jump into blog. Here's this blog post it's pulling from. Right now it's pulling this image, but I can edit my fields and I can add a new image and call it SEO image and say it's required. And then we'll jump down and you can see, oh, there it is. Add this in here, and then when I go back to my SEO settings for my blog posts, it will then be a variable that I can pull from SEO image. Right now there's nothing, but when you populate it, it will populate. So alongside this, we really recommend linking up Google Analytics and Google Search Console, so you can kind of track your stats, and you can link these in directly from Framer. There's also space for custom code if you need to add any specific tagging tools. And then just things like adding links on your site to other sites and making sure that, let's say you're a theme site and you've built your theme site on Framer, trying to get onto other sites and getting them to backlink into your site always helps with your SEO. And at the end of the day, we can only control what we can control from an SEO perspective, but adding these tags, adding alt tags, and adding all our site descriptions and headings will really help us boost our ranking. But it does take a lot of time, so it is really important to be really patient with that. And that is it from me today on our Framer SEO content and how to optimize your site for SEO. If you have any questions on SEO or you want us to go a little bit deeper into anything, we can definitely do so. So drop a comment below. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to drop us a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.